Alrighty, what is already Pretender here, back with another Honkai Star guide, and today I'm going to be providing a full build guide on Silverwolf. Silverwolf is the third limited character that has just seen a bunch of play throughout the time of this game and is now seeing another massive spike due to the upcoming character Acheron. Silverwolf plays a big role in her team because Silverwolf herself is a Nihility debuffer, and so Silverwolf is regarded to be one of, if not the best Acheron teammate. And so today I'm going to be going over a full build guide mainly for her debuffer supportive role. Let me know if you guys want a follow-up video where I do go over a build guide for more of a break effect or sub DPS guide, because this guide will mainly be focused on her Nihility debuffer supportive role, not really focusing on damage, mainly just focusing on her and her ability to stay alive and provide a bunch of debuffs. And if enough demand is there, I will make a follow-up video where I do go over a build for break effect and a E2 sub DPS and a combination of what you can do. So definitely let me know. I do have a ton of videos already covering other types of parts Acheron would want, such as the universal market trend, lightcone guide. I have guides on other units Acheron's really good with, such as Welt, Peleg with Knifin. I have videos just going over Acheron and her restrictions, all that kind of stuff. So do definitely check those out if you are curious. And yeah, if you guys could drop a like on the video and drop a sub, turn on the bell icon for future videos like this, along with other types of guides, summons, showcases, all that stuff, all on this channel. Let me know if there's any videos that you're looking out for regarding Acheron, regarding other characters, all that kind of stuff, and let's get straight into the video. So Silverwolf is a quantum character following the path of Nihility. Her basic attack deals quantum damage equal to 100% of Silverwolf's attack to a single enemy. For the skill, there is a 85% base chance to add one weakness of an on-field character's type to a target enemy. What that means is, if you are, I'm going to use Mono Quantum for an example. If you have 4 quantum characters on your team, and you're fighting someone that doesn't have a quantum weakness, if you pop Silverwolf's skill onto the enemy, they will guarantee get a quantum weakness. If you do have a more of like a rainbow or a team of all different types, like say if you have an imaginary, fire, lightning, and then Silverwolf with their quantum, whatever one they don't have, it will pick one of the ones on your team to apply to them, so you can't control it sadly, but with RNG you'll get lucky. This also reduces the enemy's damage res to that weakness type by 20% for 2 turns, so they take more damage to that weakness type. If the enemy already has that type weakness, the effect damage res reduction to that weakness type will not be triggered. Each enemy can only have one weakness implanted by Silverwolf. When Silverwolf implants another weakness to the target, only the most recent implanted weakness will be kept. So you can't have multiple, you can only have one up at a time. In addition, there's a 100% base chance to further reduce the all-type res to the enemy by 10% per 2 turns. Deals quantum damage equal to 196% of Silverwolf's attack to this enemy. So see, there is a lot. The skill being a debuff on its own, so that's really good for Acheron. Now for ultimate, there's a 100% base chance to decrease the target enemy's defense by 45% for 3 turns, and at the same time deals quantum damage equal to 380% of Silverwolf's attack to the target enemy. And now for her insane talent. Silverwolf can create 3 types of bugs: reduce attack by 10%, reduce defense by 8%, and reduce speed by 6%. Every time Silverwolf attacks, she has a 72% base chance to implant a random bug that lasts for 3 turns in an target enemy. So this does mean if you do hit them with a skill, ultimate, or basic attack, she does have a 72% base chance to inflict one of these. So her basic attack can inflict a debuff, making her skill point positive for the Acheron team, which is really good. Her technique immediately attacks the enemy. After entering battle, it deals quantum damage equal to 80% of Silverwolf's attack to all enemies and ignores weakness types and reduces toughness from all enemies. Enemies with their weakness broken in this way will trigger the quantum weakness break effect. Her bonus ability: if there are 3 or more debuffs affecting the enemy when the skill is used, then the skill decreases the enemy's all-type res by an additional 3%, which is really easy on an Acheron team, especially because for the most part you have another debuffer with you. Second bonus ability: the duration of the weakness implanted by Silverwolf's skill increases by 1 turn, so you get another turn to that weakness. Third bonus ability: bug's duration is extended for 1 turn, so the bug you apply from the talent is extended for 1 turn. Every time an enemy is afflicted with weakness break, Silverwolf has a 65% base chance of implanting a random bug in the enemy. So if someone does weakness break anyone on the enemy field, there's a 65% chance for a debuff to be applied. So it doesn't have to be Silverwolf doing the weakness break. Anyone can inflict weakness break, so let's say you're Acheron ults and you hit them with a weakness break, there's a 65% base chance of inflicting a bug on them. Really quickly going over her eidolons. Her first eidolon, after using her ultimate to attack enemies, Silverwolf regenerates 7 energy for every debuff that enemy currently has. This effect can be triggered up to 5 times in each use of her ultimate. Now her second eidolon, which does enable her to become a sub DPS, when an enemy enters battle, reduces their effect res by 20%. Fourth eidolon, after using her ultimate to attack enemies, deals an additional quantum damage equal to 20% of Silverwolf's attack for every debuff currently on the enemy target. This effect can be triggered up to a maximum of 5 times for each use during her ultimate. And her final eidolon, for every debuff the target enemy has, the damage dealt by Silverwolf increases by 20% up to a limit of 100%. Now moving on to her best lightcone choices, one of her best choices will be the Resolution Shines as Pearls of Sweat. This one does help a lot, especially on an Acheron team. For now, if you do, like, let's say you missed a bug affliction from her talent, if you do proc the snare, that's a debuff applied, so that definitely does save you. And also, having further defense lowers on the enemy, more debuffs, especially with defense, the more damage your team can dish out, mainly Acheron. What it does is when the wearer hits an enemy, and if the hit enemy is not already ensnared, there's a 60% base chance to ensnare the hit enemy. Ensnared enemies' defense decreases by 12% for 1 turn. And at R5, it becomes 100% base chance, and ensnared enemies' defense decreases by 16% for a turn. So again, this one's really good for inflicting another debuff if you don't already apply, because Acheron can't gain 2 from 1 action, you can only get 1. So if you do have a debuff apply and this apply, you can't get 2, but you do get a defense lower onto the enemy, which is really good just so your Acheron can hit harder against that enemy. So this is a really good option on Silverwolf. Another very fantastic option on Silverwolf is before the tutorial mission starts. What it does is increases the wearer's effect hit rate by 20%, and when the wearer attacks defense reduced enemies, regenerates 4 energy. And at R5, you get a 40% effect hit rate stat stick, and you get 8 energy attacking a defensive reduced enemy. And since Silverwolf does reduce defense herself, this is a lot more doable than it seems. And with Silverwolf, I'll get into later on why, but effect hit rate is very important on her, especially not at E2 levels. That's why for the most part, E0 is mainly built on the supportive side. And so the effect hit rate you get from this lightcone is insanely good. Another really good option on her is obviously her own signature lightcone, and what it does is increases the wearer's effect hit rate by 24%. When the wearer deals damage to an enemy that has currently 3 or more debuffs, increases the wearer's crit rate by 12%. After the wearer uses their basic attack, skill, or ultimate, there is a 100% base chance to implant Aether Code on a random hit target that does not yet have it. Targets with Aether Code receive 12% increased damage for 1 turn. Now, this lightcone is mainly better for sub DPS overall because you do get a crit rate increase and the little effect hit rate is still nice, but the other free to play options or the 4-star options are usually just slightly better for the more supportive side. The Aether Code overall is helpful. It doesn't really help her own DPS too much, but letting others deal increased damage is really nice. But overall, this is mainly for a sub DPS Silverwolf, but it still can be used pretty well because it's their own signature lightcone, so if you have it, you can still use it. And then another option is just in the name of the world, well, signature lightcone, what it does is increases the wearer's damage to debuffed enemies by 24%. When the wearer uses their skill, the effect hit rate for this attack increases by 18% and attack increases by 24%. So you are getting a bonus to effect hit rate on your skill and you're just getting more damage overall. This one is still, I'd say, more on the sub DPS related side just because of how much attack and damage that it gives you, but it is still another option you can use. Overall, for the debuff supportive side, I would recommend just rocking one of these two. This one still just falls a little short on the supportive side, but it's still a good option. And this one is just more leading on the sub DPS side, but it's still usable. So now, this one might be shocking, but the debuffer support role, I think the best relic sets moving on to the relic sets will be the 4-piece wind set. The 2-piece is useless because she's not wind damage, but what it is after the wearer uses their ultimate, their action is advanced forward by 25%. So applying a debuff with your ultimate, you now have a 25% action forward every time you do use the ultimate, letting you attack again sooner, being able to debuff faster. So this is mainly just fantastic for the fact that you can debuff faster, so it's really good. And for the second option that I would recommend is running 2-piece Hackerspace with 2-piece Quantum Set. This one is mainly just to help her damage a little bit, but mainly for the 2-piece on the speed that you get from the Hackerspace because the 2-piece increases speed by 6%. And then with 2-piece Quantum Set, you get a 10% quantum damage increase just to help her damage a little bit and mainly for the speed. Since there aren't much else you can pair this with, it's usually you either do 2-piece just so you get value out of both of them, or you do 4-piece of this just so you can get a nice value from the action forward because that does help you debuff the enemy more after using your ultimate. As for her planar ornaments, it depends. If you are using her with Acheron or just in general, Broken Keel is a really good option because what it does is increases the wearer's effect res by 10%. When the wearer's effect res is 30% or higher, all allies crit damage increases by 10%. So giving your entire team a 10% crit damage bonus is really nice. Another really good option is Fleet of the Ageless because what it does is increase the wearer's max HP by 12%. And when the wearer's speed reaches 120 or higher, all allies attack increases by 8%, giving your teammate 8% attack bonus, little nice bonus, and giving your Silverwolf some more HP for survivability. Now, if you are using her on Mono Quantum, the best ornaments you can run for her is the Pentagonist set because what it does is increase the wearer's energy regeneration by 5%, increases damage by 10% for all other allies that are the same type as the wearer, so giving your DPS a 10% damage increase if they are Quantum, because that's why I say Mono Quantum, because you are where mainly if you are using the set, you'll have your main DPS being either Zele or QQ with their own build, and then you'll have your 3 supports. Usually the best one right now would be Silverwolf, Bushwan, and Sparkle, giving all 3 of them the Penacony set, because then all of them get a 5% energy regeneration rate on their own, because that's like what the base one gives for themselves. But because of this, you get a total of 10 from each, so you get a 30% damage increase for your DPS, or just your entire team, but mainly your DPS, because no one else there is for the damage, unless you have a sub DPS Silverwolf. But that's why the Penacony set does become the best. But for Acheron and other teams, one of these two will be better, because for the most part, they won't be Quantum if you're running on a team, because for the most part, you will probably not have a Zele and Silverwolf or a Zele and QQ on a different team that isn't Mono Quantum. These two are best for everything else, but in Mono Quantum, Penacony set is the best. Now for the main stats, for the body, you will be rocking effect hit rate, because effect hit rate is very important for Silverwolf, because you do not have a guaranteed chance to apply the debuffs, especially in higher difficulty battles, where the res might be a little on the higher side for the enemies. So just having a good amount of effect hit rate does go a long way, especially for a supportive debuffer Silverwolf. And so a recommended range to aim for is about 65 all the way up to 100%. That is around the effect hit rate range you want to have on your Silverwolf, and a body piece plus a light cone is a good amount for that. For the feet, you'll be rocking speed. For the Planner Sphere, you will be rocking mainly HP percent, just for survivability, and for the Link Rope, you'll be rocking energy regeneration rate for your ultimate to come back faster. For the substats, mainly will be speed and effect hit rate. You want to get your effect hit rate to the amount I mentioned previously, and for your speed, you want to get it to at least breakpoint or higher, being 134 or higher. After that, you mainly can just focus on survivability stats, such as HP and defense. And if you are running the Broken Keel Planner Ornaments, you definitely want to focus on effect res, just so you can get to the 30% requirement so you can give your team crit damage. So focus on effect res if you are running Broken Keel. And so yeah, that is the Silverwolf guide and how you want to go about building her for being a supportive debuffer. Again, if you guys want a video where I cover more of the break effect / sub DPS portions at E0, E1, E2, all that kind of stuff, definitely let me know, because Silverwolf has new ways to build her, not just as a supporting debuffer, but also can do some damage on her own with break effect, and at E2 can become a pretty powerful sub DPS, because with the E2 you don't need as much effect hit rate. And so yeah, hope you guys found this video helpful. And for the question of the day, what is your favorite Genshin character, if you know anything about Genshin, which most of you guys probably do if you play Star, let's be real. So let's know your favorite Genshin character. Mine is probably, I actually have no idea anymore because I stopped playing Genshin ages ago, but for the most part it was mainly Xiao and Keqing. So let's see what yours is. Anyway, again, hope you guys found the video helpful. Peace out.